What's going on? Welcome to Asian Cosell. So, in my Korean series, we have one that is so crazy by Megan Moon. Yeah, it's the Korean husband cheating story, and it's so insane. So, we're going to just listen in on that. So, here we go.
aka 저는 미국 사람입니다. You guys like crazy stories? I have got a crazy story for you today. You guys know that I watched the Korean show called Edo Boo Boo. It's a show where people send in their crazy stories and they sort of react to the story and reenact it in like a crazy way. Me and my husband watch it together. It's kind of like our little guilty pleasure show. So this is a story of a family that is a Chumar Boo Boo. Chumar Boo Boo means weekend couple. This is a concept where the husband lives somewhere else and just sends money to the wife and kids. And there are a lot of instances of that in Korea. I looked it up because I was curious. About 15 to 16% of households are like that. I could never. I need emotional intimacy and the cuddles. But amongst those people, there are higher rates of cheating and like divorce. Anyway, so in this story, the father is a Kirogi Appa. We're going to call him Peter. His wife, Sarah, they have a 5-year-old daughter, and we'll just call her Daya. So Peter works in a city that's 3 hours away from Seoul, and he comes on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday, and they have been living that way for 8 years. When he comes on the weekend, Sarah and her mom prepare a big feast for him, and they want to make sure that he's comfortable. He gets treated like a king.
Just to say, I live in the city in Daejeon. A lot of the workers, this is a common thing for some of the workers. They come and work in Daejeon. So if that's like, the train station, Rail is one of them. Some of the companies like, Land and Housing. Yeah, a lot of them have homes in Seoul. So during the week they work, and then on the weekends they go home to their family. So it's just a common thing for some of the workers. But let's continue and see how this one goes.
Okay, a king's feast. And Daya, of course, loves when she gets to see her father. One of the things that she's always wanted to do with her dad is go to the mart. I don't know what it is. I feel like in Korea, sometimes families love going to the supermarket. Even my
Yeah.
husband, like, he loves when we all go to the supermarket together. I guess maybe it's just a thing. The daughters always also wanted to take family photos. But then the dad's always like, no, I'm too tired. They only really get like 1 day a week with him. So the mom will usually do video calls. And sometimes when they video call, he's having dinner with his manager, Manager O, and with Manager O's wife. Luckily, the husband's really close with the manager and the manager's wife. They bring him side dishes and they'll like bring him kimchi. So aside from, not being able to see him often, Sarah's, quite content. And it actually been a while since Sarah had gone to visit her husband's city, and it was actually her husband's birthday. So Sarah was like, you know what? I'm going to drive 3 hours to the city. I'm going to go into my husband's apartment, get him a birthday cake. So when he gets home from work, he'll be surprised. She gets to the apartment, opens the door. Manager O's wife is sat in the living room. There's some beer, chicken. She's just watching TV in like some little satin shorts and a little tank top. So she comes in and she's like, 사모님, 오늘 출근 안 하셨어요? And right when she asks from the bathroom, she hears her husband's voice. 자기야, 수건 좀. He comes out of the bathroom shirtless. He sees his wife and he's like, oh. So Sarah's like, Tagi, sweetheart, darling. He called this girl Tagi. So they tell Sarah that's not actually Manager O's wife. That's actually Manager O's mistress. So Sarah's like, so for the past 8 years, you've just been lying to me. His mistress, you've been hanging out with her. Okay, because in Korea, like mistresses, like you're not treated very nicely. Okay, it's like, why are you giving this chick the time of day? Even, she's a harlot. So Peter says, last month, Manager O left her, moved to Seoul. She didn't have anywhere to go. I felt bad for her, so I just let her stay here. So then Sarah's like, this bitch been here for a month and you didn't tell me? That's quite inappropriate. And then on top of that, I'm sorry, but if she's a mistress, if she's a harlot, that means that she doesn't care about wrecking homes. She gonna be trying to be on your man too because she ain't got no morals, no boundaries. And Peter was like, well, I didn't tell you because I knew that you would flip out. So then Sarah's like, 당신 말 못 믿어. You better call Manager O right now. So he calls Manager O, and then Manager O confirms the story. So Sarah was like, okay, well, why aren't you at work? Huh? I just wasn't feeling that good today. I feel like I was getting a cold. That's why I was taking a hot shower. Uh-huh. So why you call her Chagi? Huh? Peter's like, Chagi can also be used between people who are like really comfortable with one another. Of course, he always has an answer. The lie. But just then, at the apartment door, opens. Say, ma. The mistress is like, 네, and then gets up and goes to the door. comes back with a child. So the child's name is Chei. So I'll just call her Jay. And so Sarah was like, you've been here with a child and a woman and you didn't bother telling me. Look, you can stay here for one more day, but tomorrow morning, as soon as the sun rises, you better get out, you harlot. So that night, when Sarah and Peter were asleep in the bed, Jay comes in. Appa Chichi. Sarah is like, I'm sorry, did this little girl just call you Appa? So Peter was like, well, she can't see her dad. She just needs to sleep by like touching me and like being in a bed with me. Appa Chichi. And then Sarah's like, you've never slept in the bed with your daughter. So Sarah was like, Jay, please get out, go back to your mom. Then Jay starts crying. Manager O's mistress comes in, grabs her daughter. Then Jay was like, Ajima Napa. So Sarah didn't want to be a bad person. So she's like, fine, you can sleep next to
Wow.
him, but we'll
This is
all sleep together
crazy.
in the living room. They sprawled out the blankets like everybody was just sleeping in the living room so the little girl could sleep next to the man. Now, I'm sorry, but this is a red flag. If this child has only been in your house for 1 month, how on earth would it even get to the point where she would feel comfortable sleeping with you in the bed versus her own mom? Like, it makes no sense. I'm sorry. I know people don't be wanting to believe in that they husbands is some bastards, but that would just be like a where are your boundaries moment for me. Okay, if a child that's not my child and I'm married with my own child wants to come and sleep with me and their mom is also here, it's not like, they're orphaned, they have no one, I would say, okay, maybe you should sleep with your mom. I cannot believe that they all slept in the living room together. I would be Sarah, I would say, absolutely not. Go cry with your mom. This situation is just what? Especially when this is a man who won't even sleep with his own daughter like that. So anyway, in the morning, manager O's mistress and Jay leave, quietly. So a few months later, Sarah and Daya were going to the kindergarten orientation. And so Sarah sees some of her friends who also have kids who are going to that school, and her friends tell her that there is this mom vlogger. She posts like her recipes, her cooking with her husband, the husband like playing with the kids, and it's just like the picture perfect family vlog. But just then, manager O's mistress and Jay walk up to the kindergarten. Sarah's friends are like, oh my God, that's the woman who's the #1 vlogger. The mistress comes over. Sarah asks her, oh, how long have you been in Seoul? Because remember, the mistress and the husband were living in an apartment, 3 hours out of Seoul. And if it was me, I'd be like, and why is she at the same school my daughter's in? That would be a huge red flag for me. The mistress.
I was just wondering, 3 hours away, is that in Busan? Because I'm trying to figure Seoul, because my city's probably a couple hours away. Because my city's kind of famous for like a lot of the workers that come work, and then they have like their own apartments and dorms. Depending on the position of the employee, just kind of makes me wonder what city was homeboy in, because as I said earlier, land and housing, Corel or all these companies, and then there's LG here. So I'm just kind of wondering if it's my town or somewhere farther away, like somewhere else. So let's find out.
Let's just call her Scarlett. That sounds like a harlot's name. Scarlett the harlot. So Scarlett says that she's been in Seoul for the past 6 months. Jay and
Oh,
Daya meet and they're talking. And then Jay is like, oh, I'm so excited. Today after school, I'm going to go to the supermarket with my dad. So Sarah asks, so you got back together, with your ex-husband? And then Scarlett the harlot's like, yeah, that's what happened. So after the school week ended that weekend, when the dad, Peter, came back home, Daya was like, I want to go to the mart with you, dad. And then dad was like, no, I'm a bit tired. And then the Sunday, he just got up super early in the morning and left. So he literally just came on a Saturday, the 3-hour journey, just stayed for that day and then left very early on Sunday. And then a few more weeks sort of passed like that. But Sarah is increasingly just starting to feel so suspicious. I'm just like, girl, you should have been suspicious like ages ago. Open your eyes, people. Open your eyes. So one of these Sundays when her husband left early in the morning, later on when she was going to run errands, she sees him crossing the crosswalk and he has a bag of groceries in his hand. He's supposed to be on his way back to his city. So she calls him. So Peter's like, yeah, my trip's going well. I'm passing the Ansong toll gate now. She's like, okay, I heard in your city that it's raining today, so be careful. While he's across the street with his bag of groceries. So what do? You put on your ninja suit, you get into stealth mode, and you follow him. That's exactly what Sarah did. So she followed him to this villa, and the villa is only a 10-minute walk from the house. And she's like, what the f-? She secretly follows him up the stairs. The door opens, Jay comes out, and she jumps up on him. He picks her up. And then Sarah's like, I can't believe my eyes.
Oh,
Like, this man has
wow.
never even done that with Daya. And I'm seeing just like a whole different husband. And then Scarlett the harlot comes out. Sarah drops her bag onto the floor. And then they see her. Oh my God. So Sarah walks up to the house. She walks in that house with her shoes on. The
Ooh,
disrespect, like she was out for blood.
yeah,
Okay, you do
that's
not walk in someone's
disrespectful.
house with your shoes on in Korea. Okay. She said, call you today, as she should have. I would have walked in the mud and then came back. On the wall, she sees a family photo. Scarlett the harlot, Jay, and her husband Peter. And inside, she's just
Wow.
crushed because their daughter Daya has been asking the dad every weekend, can we please go take family photos? So Sarah's like, what the hell? There's this beautiful meal cooked on the table, and on the refrigerator, there are photos of Scarlett the harlot, her husband Peter, and of Jay, all the way back to when she was a newborn
Wow.
baby. Yeah. And then Sarah is like, on our refrigerator at home, all the pictures of Daya are just Daya by herself, Daya and me, or Daya and grandparents. There's not one photo of the father, Peter, on their refrigerator. But this chick has a refrigerator that has all the photos of you. You've known this kid since it was a baby. Is it your baby? So she starts ripping all the photos off the fridge, ripping them up. So Scarlett the harlot's like, we've been living together for the past 5 years. Sarah's like, so you
Jeez.
weren't Manager O's mistress? Scarlett the harlot's like, Manager O's mistress? Honey, I'm your husband's mistress. Sarah was like confused because she was like, Manager O even confirmed it with me. Like, what the hell? And then Peter was like, oh, I asked him to do that as a favor. And in return, he said that I also return the same favor when he's cheating on his wife. Sarah's just mind
Yeah.
blown. So then Peter's like, okay, let me explain. Then Scarlett the harlot butts in and is like, girl, we were almost married at one point in time. So Peter and Scarlett the harlot had been friends
Yeah.
since elementary school. And Peter and Scarlett the harlot were actually dating in their adult life, and they were engaged to be married. And it was right
Oh.
up until a few weeks before the wedding, Peter's mom was like, Scarlett the harlot is not good enough for my precious baby boy. At the last minute, right before the wedding, Peter canceled it. My mom is against the wedding. You know I'm not good at going against what my mom wants. When I saw this, I was like, okay, so you are worried about going against what your mom wants, but you can just like fully cheat on somebody, like not listening to your parents, cheating on someone on your moral radar, parents cheating.
That is
Is it like
crazy.
this? To me, that just like is wild. Mess up a little girl's life who's in dire need of her father. Anyway, where's the morals? Make it make sense. But side note, I've actually heard a lot of ratchet stories about stuff like that happening. In Korea, you have to have permission from your parents to get married. People nowadays don't really care as much and they just do it anyway. You gotta live your life. But I've heard many stories of people who married someone else and just like sort of cheating with each other. If you're gonna do that, just ignore your parents. It's not a sin to ignore your parents and marry the person you want, but it is a sin to cheat. So in Korea, there's something called like 동창회, people who went to school together. I guess it's like a class reunion kind of thing, but I feel like in Korea, they meet up more often. So Peter and Scarlett the harlot had a 동창회 for their elementary school a few years later after they broke off the engagement. But they were both already married to other people. So he said she looked really pitiful. She was pregnant, and he found out that she had gotten a divorce from her husband. He felt really bad for her. So he said, how about you come down with me to my city and stay with me? So this woman moved 3 hours away to go be with this man who was married. Like from there, that don't make no sense. Like I understand if you're pregnant and upset, like you have parents, you could go back.
Okay, I'm saying this like, okay, if Homeboy wanted to say, look, I'm gonna have another woman live with me in another city, and he told her up front, okay, and if Sarah was okay with that, fine. But most of the times it's not okay because they're gonna be like, nope, I want to be the only woman in your life, and our daughter's like, pine for his dad, like what the hell? So yeah, so there's two ways I look at this, but yeah, but if yeah, if you would have like told her, and Sarah could have said, "Yep, let's not get married, or let's get divorced, or all right, I'll settle for this." But yeah, she's not gonna settle for this because she expects to be the only wife. But hey, what do I know?
back with their parents or other family members. But like, why are you gonna go to a different city at that? That's 3 hours away to live with a man who is married. So Peter said he took her in and the baby, and then it's been 5 years since that's happened. So then Sarah was like, okay, why would you move to Seoul though? And then Scarlett the Harlot was like, well, I wanted my daughter Jay to have a good education and go to a good school like your daughter Daya is. The husband changed his job back to Seoul. He's been living 10 minutes away with Scarlett the Harlot
Ooh,
and Jay for 6 months. How brazen are you to move your mistress 10 minutes away from your wife and send the daughters to the same school?
that is
Sarah naturally
stupid.
asked, well, why the hell didn't you tell me that you moved to Seoul? But we all know the answer to that, obviously, because if he did, then she would expect him to be home every day, right? So Sarah's like, so this whole time, you've been spending 5 to 6 days a week here with Scarlett the Harlot and Jay, and you only see your daughter like one full day a week, and you don't do anything with her. Huh? Okay, so in Korea, if you are deemed like a mistress or something at the school, if there's like cheating couples at the school and that gets around, people will really like start shunning you and stuff. So Sarah was like, okay, well, our kids go to the same school. You just wait until I tell everybody. Sarah calls up the moms at school and her friends at school, and she
Yeah,
goes to a cafe to meet them. And then Scarlett the Harlot walks in. But Scarlett the Harlot does not walk in alone. Scarlett the Harlot walks in with Peter. And as soon as Peter and Scarlett the Harlot walk in, all the other moms were like, Cheyapa. Because in Korea, especially amongst school people, you don't have a name. You're so and so's dad. So I am Luna 엄마, Ruben 엄마. They were just gushing over him because remember, Scarlett the Harlot has a #1 mommy blog. And who do you think the husband is that she's been posting? Peter! So then they go into the mommy blog, and then Sarah's just looking at all of the photos. She's seeing her husband, who's being a piece of shit to them, won't even take the daughter to the mark, being on this mommy blog, all perfect father. And he walks in, doesn't acknowledge Sarah at all, just sits down with Scarlett the Harlot.
that yeah, yeah, that is so messed up, man. Yeah, that you know, I mean, if he would have just said this from the jump, okay, but I don't think Sarah would have accepted this. But yeah, it's just the nerve of this dude.
Let all the other moms gush at them. And the other moms are like, oh my God, whenever I see this mom blog, I just wonder, Sarah, where is your husband? Like some of the people even joke, like, is she really married? Sarah's just pissed. So Sarah just gets up and walks out. But then Peter follows her outside. And then she's like, what is this? So you're pretending to be her husband? And he's like, I don't know. Like when the baby was born, I slept with the baby, I changed the baby's diaper, I bathed her and everything. I just sort of fell in love with her. But Sarah was like, but you have an actual daughter that you did none of that with. Why? So he says, with Scarlett and Jay, I feel like family. But when I come here to Seoul on the weekends, you always make an effort to treat me well. You make me nice food or whatever. It doesn't feel like family. Like you're doing too much. Like it's not comfortable. And so the wife was like, so the complaint that you have is that when you come on the weekends, I make you so much food and treat you nicely. But at that time, Scarlett the Harlot walks out of the cafe, walks over to them, and was like, how could you feel like family with someone you only see once or twice a month? But the husband, Peter, is like, I can't break up with her. Like I love them like family. So Sarah was like, so what? You want a divorce? And then Peter was like, no, I don't want a divorce. Can't we just keep living like this? You seemed pretty happy, like of me coming on the weekends, but I'll do my best to like do everything on the weekends. You get money to live. And then he said to
True.
Scarlett the Harlot, you get me 5 days a week. Like there's no complaints, right? I spend most of my time with you. We got the mommy vlog going. Can we just continue to live like this? And that was the end of the story. As far as we know, she's sort of still in that situation. Holy cow, like this man wants to just keep both of them. Later on in the show, the psychologist sort of talks about it. And the psychologist said those kind of people, like even into adulthood, who are mama boys, a lot of those people, they were raised and given like everything. And so he said sometimes they want it all. Like, I can't give up any of them, I want them both. She just got to get a divorce. Like, how can you live like that? I couldn't live like that. If I was Sarah, I would get that 가족 관계 등록증, I print that shit out and post it all into school so everybody knows that your mommy vlog would be gone. You would be exposed. It's got my blood boiling a little bit. But also in Korea, you can sue people for cheating with your partner. So if she does get a divorce from that husband, they have all the evidence of him like with that other woman. She don't even have to go and get any additional evidence. She could sue her for a lot of money. Sarah better sue her, sue him, get a divorce, and get all that money. But anywho, let me go do some meditation so I can calm my boiling blood. If there's other topics you want me to cover or any other crazy stories you've heard or any other type of video you want me to do, let me know down below.
Okay, yeah. If he wanted to, I don't know, be a polygamist, he should have done it. And it's a little different in Korea, but I'm like, hey, if you wanted to do that and both agree, because that's the problem. And even if and you could sue the guy. And I'm not condoning what he did, because if he was like honest up from the front, yeah, but he couldn't be. So, and he had to lie and cheat about this. So that's the bad part on him. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he could have. But and if she sues him for a lot of money, yeah, they could get a lot of money. But hey, you, what's gonna happen? And for the other girl daughter, that doesn't get the attention, what's going to happen to her? This is sad. This is sad because fathers are important into the kids' lives. So yeah, so we'll just have to just see what happens, but I don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, but it was an interesting story, from Megan. So yeah. All right. So if any of you enjoyed any of this content, please give me the HKO special. Help the king out. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment. And wherever you are, stay safe. And I'll see you in my next video.